Hey, welcome back to the Confidad Podcast. Your host, Dan Tinquist here. So glad that you chose to join us today. Let's start today, like we do every episode this season, with our fatherhood mindset. Say it out loud with me. I'm the only one who can fulfill the father role I have, so I choose to do it well. I get to show up well for my kids. Imperfection is reality. Ownership is a choice. Today is brand new. So is tomorrow. I am wholly loved, so I will love wholly. Today, I want to equip you with the understanding that the goal setting that we do in our lives is dangerous. Self-awareness is helpful. It's really good to know where you're going, right? Ran into this the other day with one of my clients when we were talking about building a family culture, an intentional family culture. And in the conversation, we talked about the reality that when we start to build a family culture that looks different from what we have right now, we can become keenly aware of our shortcomings. We can say things like, my family culture just feels like chaos. It feels like week to week. It feels like I cannot get ahead. I'm just keeping my nose above the water so that we can keep living, keep surviving, let alone thriving. And so we talked about, and I helped guide him through the idea that it isn't about tomorrow being 100% better and changed. It maybe isn't even about our family culture becoming exactly what we're hoping it would become in the next few years. We're here for the long game, right? I run my clients through this practice where we envision ourselves at 75 years old and we ask, what does our relationships with our kids, what do those relationships look like when we're 75? Obviously, there's no guarantees. God willing, we make it there and they make it there. But to have this understanding to say, what am I aiming at? What am I working towards is a really helpful way to become aware of the gap between your current life trajectory and what it's going to take to reach that goal, right? Now, to do this practice of goal setting, to do this practice of understanding like, oh, I want to have a beautiful family culture where we're all in a team and we're understanding each other and we all have emotional regulation and it's all this health and goodness and wholeness and well-roundedness, right? Good rest, like we talked about last episode. When we hold that idealism up and compare it to our current reality, it is an incredibly daunting thing to do. And so I don't blame people that don't want to set goals or don't want to look down the road and understand like what does it take to live a life with intention, to build a family culture with intention, because it's a lot less scary to just keep living the day to day, week to week survival mode instead of thriving mode. But here's what I think. I think both of them are hard. And you've heard this before, choose your hard, right? What I want to help you understand, what I help my clients understand is it is a privilege to have these children to be raising. It is a gift. And we get to do this. Like we get to have these children, raise them up into adulthood and launch them. Someone has entrusted these children with us. And it is our job to help them grow into adulthood. The way that I say that is it's our job to build them into healthy, confident, interdependent adults. Someday when they launch from our home, they are ready to go impact the world from a place of confidence, a place of health, and a place of interdependence with us, with their other people in the community, with their friends, family, colleagues, classmates. So we get to push through this discomfort. We get to hold it up against and say, here's the ideal and here's what our reality is. And how do we measure that against each other? It's probably not fair because you'll never reach idealism, right? It's kind of like the horizon. The closer that you get to the horizon, it moves away from you, right? There's no such thing as living the ideal. However, when we have the ideal ahead of us, it's going to raise us up into a point of saying, this is worth pursuing. because it is in the pursuit of the ideal that some parts of that ideal become true in our lives. The pursuit of, like in Christianity, we talk about the pursuit of holiness. Will we ever be fully holy? No. Does that mean we just give up and don't ever try or don't ever work towards holiness or work towards self-discipline and depriving ourselves of certain things because it's healthy to understand where our need lies and where our provision is? Absolutely. And I think it's the same idea in the concept of pursuing the idealism is we will never get there. But it is the pursuit that changes us. It is the pursuit that grows us, right? In module 1 of my course, I have people watch the TED Talk on marginal improvement. And this is a very important concept to keep driving back to as we talk about this, because when we start measuring the gap between us right now and our ideal, it is very difficult to keep going because it's daunting. But if we look backwards to where we were 6-12 months ago to where we are today, so long as we've been living with attention, so long as we've been living for something or in a direction of something, we will see some gains. And so we got to measure the gains, not the gap. It's classic Dan Sullivan, right? In our own lives, in our own parenting, we get to pursue this 1% marginal improvement day by day with our kids. So many parents, hopefully every parent would say, I'd die for my kids. I would die for them. Don't you think living a life of marginal improvement, 1% better every day, is probably just as difficult as dying for your kid, but it is ongoing? Heroes die, but guides die to themselves, right? Dying for our kids is heroic, but I would rather become a guide, knowing the path ahead so well and knowing who I'm guiding so well that I'm the best guide for these specific humans. That's what it is. Being a guide is knowing the path so well, knowing what can come, what will come, knowing how to get through and push through adversity, encouraging the people that you're leading to not give up and to keep pushing through, because you know that at the end of the path, whether it's a canoe guide, a hiking guide, a whitewater rafting guide, the path has something up ahead that is so beautiful that it's worth all the hardship to get there. It's not even about the destination. It's about the things that you see, the things you experience, the memories that are made, the ways that you get to know yourself along the way that becomes the reason why we keep moving forward. So yeah, it's heroic to die for your kids. But man, I would rather live for them. I'd rather die to myself and live for the kids that I've been given. Because this season of life, I'm about 50% of the way through parenting. That's crazy. It feels like yesterday we brought our first home in a 2012 Kia Forte in the backseat, and we looked at each other like, we don't have a license to carry this baby. Like, we don't know what we're doing, but I guess we'll learn. We all feel that way, right? And then all of a sudden you fast forward and I got 12, 10, 8, and 6. These 4 boys that have been gifted to us to say, man, we get to be their guide. And so don't talk big about being a hero or I'd take a bullet for my kids or whatever. Be humble, be quiet. Quiet leadership as you guide your kids, getting to know the path ahead so well, understanding yourself so well, the things that you did, the mistakes that you made, the things you did well in childhood, adolescence, adulthood, so that they can grow and learn from your mistakes, and you are the best guide to help them. The best guides know when to let the people they're leading struggle, and they know when to step in and help. They know when to let them grit through something hard and to grow that resilience. And they know how to come alongside, put an arm around and say, hey, let me help you. Do you know your kids that well? Do you know yourself that well? Do you know what it takes to become a guide for your kids? I hope you do. And to empower you as we finish here, I want you to ask the question, am I more apt to be a hero in some idealistic world of, oh yeah, I'd die for my kid. I'd go in front of a bus for them, or I'd take a bullet for them. That's idealistic. And hopefully it doesn't ever happen. Like, that's tragic, right? But are you living some false ideal that may never come to fruition and calling yourself a hero for your kids? Or are you choosing to die to yourself and become a guide? Every good story has a hero, has a guide. The hero almost always dies, right? Or has big, hard things they're going through. And what's the guide doing? The guide is walking them through the journey of life, growth, understanding, hardship, failure, dreaming, risk. It's our job as dads to become the guides, not just hang our hat on some heroic falsehood that we can say, I'm a good dad because I'd take a bullet for my kid. The best dads die to themselves and guide their kids. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.